Hello parents, this is Coach John here, and thanks for watching this Facebook Live. And today we have something very interesting for you. And the reason that we are doing this is because we wanted to really reach out to the community and to cater to all our parents. We decided to do a Facebook Live on covering just some basic tips on English, math, and science tonight. And I know that it's a bit late, so we are going to do it in in bite size. Yeah. Okay. So let me just do this. Okay, give me a minute while I set up. All right. Okay, just give me a yes if you are online with us right now. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so in this session, we are going to do in this order, which is first of all, we're going to do something on math. Then we are going to do on English. Then we are going to do science. Yeah. And the reason why we are doing in this combi of three is because I think every child in this Facebook group are going to sit for the PSLE English, Math, and Science eventually. Yeah, so I'm going to touch on some quick tips that you need to know to revise, because right now it's only less than 2 months away from PSLE. Yes, probably not by calendar month, but you know that's about 1 week before the actual PSLE, you need to feel prepared already. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So hi Cassandra. Hi Camis. Okay. So right now I'm going to spend the next until next few minutes until 8:15 before I bring up the teacher Rosalind, who is the expert in PSLE English. Okay, so if you are online with us right now, drop us a hi, yeah, so that I know that you are there and I know who you are. Just drop us a hi so we know that you are online with us right now. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so when it comes to doing well for math, right now, I presume that you are already revising your PSLE math for the second time. Yeah, it shouldn't be your first time because right now it's already your prelim is coming soon, and some of you could have taken your termly assessment or WA weighted assessment. Yeah, so so right now you should be doing your second round of math revision. Okay, so how will this year's PSLE be different from last year? As you know, from the SAAB website, there are some physics topics that are taken out. But does that mean that this year's PSLE is going to be simpler? The answer is no. Yeah. And one thing that you have to remember that your child is, if a child is sitting for PSLE this year, your child is still competing against her entire the entire physics cohort in Singapore. Yeah. So if your child is going to if the cohort is generally strong, then it will affect the bell curve. Yeah. If the paper is hard and generally the cohort is weaker than previous year, then it's going to affect the bell curves. So instead of trying to game the system and trying to spot the exact trend, what a good advice will be for your kid is just do your best and prepare well for prelim and PSLE. And in fact, prelim should be treated like PSLE. So you take prelim seriously as well. And then you make sure that you do well or do your best for prelim. Then anything that you're not very sure or mistakes that you made in prelim should be cleared. Yeah, should be cleared in a sense that you should not make them again in PSLE. And what's the meaning of mistakes? Mistakes actually mean that it could be a misconception. Like, for example, you think that this is right, but actually it's wrong. Yeah. And in fact, for the longest time, maybe for the past 2 years, you have been taught wrongly, and you thought that certain concepts is correct. Yeah, but actually it's wrong. Okay. Or real careless mistakes. Like, for example, and careless mistakes, I think, something like maybe you transfer error 6, you write 9, cm, you write meters, and many other common ones. And I think that careless mistakes can be easily avoided by making sure that at home you also do your practices, yeah, and also you check. Make sure that you check your work at home and get into these habits of making sure that your kid does check their work too, and not checking for them. Yeah, and I think one of the trend that I feel that is quite disturbing is sometimes, yes, we want to make sure that we help our kids. Yeah, but there are many ways to help our kids, in the sense of we also want to make sure that they are able to check by themselves and not we check for them and then we mark is it right or wrong. In fact, a more effective way to study is you ask your child to check for a few things. Check for transfer error, check for calculation error, and also check for units. And if you're a LB kid or you have watched our Facebook Live, a lot of times when we do our Facebook Live, we always start off with KCNSU. And there's a reason why we start off with this, because it's a simple, faster process that your child should follow to be able to tackle and check for any problem sum. Yeah. So keyword stands for K stands for keyword, C is concept, use the right concept, N is number, so it prevents or it reduces the mistake of transfer error. Then S, right statement, so that you know that which step is for which part of the question. And then U, again, is also to reduce the mistake of writing the wrong unit. Yeah, so make sure that you follow this KCNSU to get your child into this good habit of checking. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to problem sum trend, yes, this year there are less questions from physics topics as shown in the website, and this is already announced in the website. Yeah. And the strange thing is some parents do not even know what's going on. So make sure that your child knows what's going on, and that is the key point. Okay. So, but do you know that if some questions from physics topics are taken out, yeah, for example, there's this gap, it is meant to be physics topics like speed, for example, yeah. So let's say I take it out, yeah, and there's this gap that has to be filled in, and if I am the examiner or the setter, I have to throw in something, right, to replace and fill up the gap. Yeah. So what will I throw in? Probably I'll throw in Angus questions. Probably I'll throw in questions that many children dislike, like for example, fraction, percentage, and ratio. I may not even throw in questions that are standalone type. For example, it wouldn't be questions like purely percentage. It wouldn't be question like that's purely ratio or fraction. There'll be a mix of at least two. So please practice questions like with topics like ratio and percentage. And you know that to tackle such questions is not to see these questions as ratio or percentage or ratio and percentage. We have to see them as question type or the problem sum type. So by now, being a P6, you should have mastered the 11 to 12 basic problem sum types, because by having a good base, then you are able to move on to the more advanced types, which is a mixture of concepts, or they have some resemblance to one of the basic 12 types, but there's a slight twist. Yeah. So how do you recognize this kind of odd questions? You still must go back to your basic 11 to 12 problem sum types. Okay, right. Okay, it's almost 8:15 soon, so feel free to ask me any question about math, because this part of the first 15 minutes will be for math. Then later we'll go on to English, and then we'll go on to science. And again, we are doing this to share with you tips, especially if your kid is already gaining momentum to do well for PSLE. Okay. Okay. The other thing that you got to take notes is last year, is there's a question on number patterns, and in fact, if you see this kind of question, it's not something new to the kid. Yeah, it is actually taught all the way since primary one. Like for example, you have 1 space 3 space 5. Spot the missing number. Yeah, so the pattern is actually +1 +1. Yeah, of course, along the way, there are bigger chunk of questions that test your child on number patterns. Okay. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you come out or not. And let's say it come out, this year. Yeah, you have to make sure that now you have to memorize some numbers that your child shouldn't be using calculator at all. All right. So for example, what is square? Square is like, for example, 1 times 1. 1 square is 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 square is 2 times 2, which is 4. And then, yeah, Cassandra, so I'm sharing with you this one. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, first of all, you need to know square numbers, like maybe 4 square, which is 16, 5 square, which is 25, all the way until 10 square, which is 100. Yeah. Again, do you stop here? Generally, for my classes, I encourage the kids to memorize until 14 square. So 11 square is 11 times 11, which is 121. Then 13 square is 169. And 14 square is 196, just a reverse. So it's easy to remember 13 square and 14 square. Okay, so 13 square is 169. Okay, let me check. I better check again. Okay, it's 169. Okay, it's 169. Yeah. Then 169, right? So when you swap 6 and 9, it will be 14 square. Okay. Okay, so something that you must remember by heart. And even if it doesn't appear, this kind of question, this kind of good practice gets you into the good habit of memorizing square numbers, which is essential even for area of square. Yeah, sometimes they may have some questions that include composite composite figures. Okay. All right. So with this, I got one last minute before I bring on Rosalind. Yeah, teacher Rosalind, to share about the English part. Okay. So what about cubes? Cubes, maybe like, like cube, like 1 times 1 is 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Yeah. So at least remember until 5 cube, like, which is 125. Yeah. So there are some numbers that you need to commit to memory, because let's say your child needs to like use calculator or do manual mental calculation. It takes away maybe 5 seconds or 10. But to you right now, probably is a very short amount of time. But when all these groups of 5, 10, 15, 30 seconds are added up, they could add up to maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes that can help your child to check their work. Yeah, which can probably reduce the careless mistake by maybe 5 to 10 marks, and it's possible. And even if it helps you to salvage back 1 mark, 74 and 75 is a difference in grade. Yeah, a 90 and a 91 is difference in grade as well. Yeah, so every single mark is very important. Okay, so make sure that you do this. And then another thing is also practice English question, which I will touch again in the next Facebook Live, because right now teacher Rosalind is already with us. Okay, so let's go. Okay, again, feel free to ask any question because I can still take on any question later on after our guests leave the Facebook Live. Okay, so right now, Teacher Rosalind, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, Teacher
Hi,
Rosalind.
hi.
Hi,
Hi.
hi. Okay, give me a minute to wrap up my site so I can come up
Sure.
with what
Okay.
other
Wow.
things we
Okay,
can.
sure.
Okay, so parents, feel free to ask any question. And right now, we're going to the English section. Again, if you still have questions about math, just feel free to put in the comments box so I can take it on later. Yeah. Okay, so right now we have teacher Rosalind. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so this section is about the parents and giving help to the parents, like telling
Yes.
them what are some of the for this final sprints, what are some of the things that they can do. So would you be able to share like some of your past experiences and tips that you shared with your ex-students who did well?
Okay, yeah, sure. So, especially for languages, it's like quite hard to cram a lot of things right at the end because language you take time to build up the language and but there are still things to look out for that can help your child in this last lap as he's doing his revision. Like for instance, for English, one thing that is very important is to revise on the grammar rules, especially the more um, frequently tested ones, yeah, such as tenses, subject verb agreement, that kind of grammar rules. And I think for my students who actually do very well, a lot of them they actually collate what they have learned and they do take down notes. Like for instance, if they have done certain papers or like they have passed uh, practices that they have done, they collate the questions that they have gotten wrong and then they revise those again. Yeah. Yeah, just to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes. Yeah, because I feel that sometimes for students who actually do very well in the exams, right? One thing good about them is that they don't repeat the mistakes that they make. Yeah, so one thing is really to revise and then write down, like collate the questions that you've gotten wrong. Yeah, so that actually helps a lot. That's one area. Yep. Okay, let's say for grammar rules, right? I would recommend this book by if I'm not wrong, it's by Preston. It's called Primary English. So there are a lot of grammar rules in the book, and then you can go by like topic by topic to like select which topic you are weaker in, and then practice on that. Yeah.
Okay, so if they want to get the grammar rule, they can get it from Popular.
Yes, this book is very much available in Popular as well. Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious if the children, because I think by now for the primary sixers,
Mm.
they may just need some of the clarifications for grammar rule. So is it okay if they can create their own PSLE uh, gram, grammar rule revision book?
As in right now, if they create their own grammar rule revision.
Yeah, just to study before the PSLE, so that it's a quick recap for them.
Definitely this will help. So what I mean by like you collating the questions that you have gotten wrong, right? There are actually grammar rules involved in those questions as well. So what you can do is to jot them down and then revise. Like for instance, give you a specific example, like plural nouns or like uncountable nouns. So there are a few like very common uncountable nouns like furniture or like luggage that some students still like don't know that they are considered uncountable nouns. So when they do those like subject verb agreement kind of questions, then they make mistakes there. Yeah. So you can collate some a list of them and just revise through because there are some nouns that you don't really use like every day, but then it is good to refresh your memory.
All right, and beside this, is there any other thing that a primary six should take notes?
Yes. So I mean, actually there are a lot of things, but just this two very important things that I'm going to share with you. That one of them is the one that I've just shared, to collate your mistakes and to write them down so that you can revise before your paper. And the other one is like whenever you're answering questions, whether be it open-ended questions or like questions that people ask you, it might be during oral exam or like some other tests. As long as you're being asked a question, it is very important to take note of like three things to fulfill, like three criteria. So the first one would be that your answer should be relevant. Okay, so relevant meaning, right, if I ask you so what do you take for breakfast today? Yeah, so you don't say, oh, I went jogging. So that won't be a relevant answer to my question, although that is an answer. Yeah, so a lot of people miss out on that and they give like irrelevant answers. Yeah, so that is a pity. Yeah, you lose marks for that. And also the next criteria that you want to take note is the accuracy, because sometimes they do answer relevant give relevant answers, but in terms of the accuracy of their answers, they kind of slack off a little bit, like in terms of the tenses, in terms of the sentence structure, the way they put express their sentences could be like flawed in terms of language. Yeah, or maybe they miss out no, not say miss out, but it's like they might misrepresent certain content. Yeah, so that would actually cause a drop in the accuracy and definitely will affect the answer. Like for instance, back to the breakfast question, right? Like for instance, I ask you, oh, so what do you take for breakfast today? And then you say, for instance, I took
That's why.
sandwich. Oh yeah, exactly, or whatever it is, but it's actually not accurate. Like you actually took something else. Like you took noodles instead. Yeah, so that kind of accuracy. Mm-hmm. And the last criteria will actually be to be specific in your answers. This one you need to see like how many marks are allocated to the question. Yeah, like for instance, a 1 mark question would usually be more straightforward. A 2 mark question, 3 mark question would be will require more explanation or whatever that the question is trying to ask you for. Yeah. And this actually also applies to oral as well. So that like when you have your oral exams, also apply what I've told you, the three criteria: relevance, accuracy, and specificity. Yeah. And of course, nowadays, like the oral, I think for a lot of schools, either for preliminary exams, right? Either your prelims are over for oral, or for some of you it's like this coming week. And your PSLE oral is actually in August. So you might want to look out for the like what to do like when you're taking the oral. So I'm sure by now your teachers would have briefed you on, like for instance, staying like 1.5 meters away from your examiners, and there's actually going to be a shield. Yeah, it's actually released by the MOE, so you might want to check it out, like the MOE website on the guidelines on how to go about sanitizing the equipment that you have used. Yeah.
Yeah, if let's say if they miss it out, please watch today's news because it's going to be shown again at 10 o'clock and 11 for the Chinese news.
Okay, that's very helpful. Yeah. So where was I? Okay, yeah. So in terms of, because you're 1.5 meters away, so definitely you need to project your voice. Like really you can't mumble to yourself. Of course it's never ideal to mumble to yourself during oral, but now in this case, right, although you can have your mask off when you are talking, but still do remember to project your voice, because there's going to be a shield there and that's going to be gonna cut off some sound. Yeah. Okay.
What would be a good demo to project the voice? Because some parents may represent that projection of voice is like shouting. Teacher, how are you? Versus teacher, I'm who. Yeah. So it's not screaming.
Okay, it's not about screaming, because screaming you use this part of your voice box. Then of course, if I mean, it's quite hard to demo over video, but yeah, but you how do you say that? You use your stomach, your diaphragm. Yeah, exactly. So don't shout because it's gonna hurt your voice as well.
Yeah, because and I think that they are I mean we are seeing kids who are more shy. Yeah, probably with the shoe on, probably it's going to affect how they perform in the oral. So parents, if you're watching this, please get your child mentally prepared for the setting.
Yep, and I believe that in the preliminary exams they will simulate like certain conditions that are similar to the PSLE. So do take note of what you have done well during the preliminary exams and what you have not, and improve on that, for your finals.
Okay, one last question before we bring Jayce on. Okay, I will just pose this question from Cassandra. Yeah, she's a very supportive mom now. So every time on Facebook, she'll want to ask and learn something from us.
Yes. Okay, good.
Okay. Shared. Maybe you can read out and then you help us to answer.
Oh, do you have okay, let's say if the examiner asks, do you have anything to add? Is this a standard question, or does it mean that the kid is off topic? Is it something like that? Yeah. I guess it really depends. Sometimes maybe the kid didn't elaborate too much, so it's like a second chance for the kid to like come up with some things to say. So usually when the examiner poses such a question, right, unless you have been talking a lot and the examiner still asks this, which is quite unlikely because everybody is given like a fixed time frame, like they can't really exceed too much. If not, it will affect the later the other students. So they wouldn't ask a superfluous question if it doesn't mean anything. So most likely you might want to really think through, oh, okay, so the what the question is about, and did I answer to the question, or did I miss out a conclusion that helps them click and link back to the question? That comes back to the criteria of relevance that I've shared with you just now. So your conclusion actually matters in helping the examiner also find the relationship between what you have said and the question that they have asked. Yeah, so it's important to reiterate rather than just stop there, and maybe the examiner just wants to make sure that you have just completed your like what you want to say and you really have nothing else to say. Yeah, because you didn't give them a very conclusive statement at the end of your answer. So then if that's the case, then just conclude. Yeah, but if you find that you really don't have as in you haven't talked a lot, then you might want to come up with something more.
Just curious, could it also be something that maybe what the kid is saying is very interesting and it got them interested? Yeah, so maybe they are trying to ask some more because some of the children, they are naturally good at talking and sharing stories. So kind of hook the examiners. You want to hear some more?
Yeah, I mean sometimes it can be the case, like a very natural response. Oh, you have something else to share, that kind of thing. Yeah. So to me, don't take it as like, oh, I didn't do well and therefore I get more nervous because just now I must have made a blunder or something. So just catch on. Yeah, look at them, see like actually are they asking you to conclude? Because let's say you've already talked a lot and it's just because you haven't really concluded your statement, with a conclusive statement, then do that. If you haven't really shared a lot and they ask anything else to add, like very encouraging, then they are asking you to add more, like you might want to talk a little bit more. Yeah. And if it's just very interesting, naturally you see the examiners very engaged and like the body language and everything. Yeah. So and they enjoy talking to you as well. Yeah. So don't overanalyze. I always tell students, don't analyze every single expression or every like every word that they speak. Yeah, I'm sure they are also there to not out there to penalize unnecessarily.
Yeah, probably let our kids know that they are trying to help.
Yes.
Probably they are waiting for just one more point from you, so they can add one more point on their side.
Yeah, exactly. So just catch on and let it flow.
Okay, thanks, Rosalind. Is there anything else before I bring Jayce up?
I think that's about it. Unless later on there are other questions, we can
Yeah, so will you be hanging around?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I just bring Jayce out and you can
Yep,
talk
sure.
about science and you can learn
Yep.
science from you.
Yeah, I learned science long. One of my favorite subjects in school,
Really?
science. So
Wow.
yeah, Jayce.
So
Okay.
you must be an A-star kid. Okay, let's. Hello, Jayce.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Hi,
this is the first time
Yeah.
Jayce.
I can see three panels. Oh my god.
Okay, that's cool.
Hey, Jayce, thanks so much because I know that you have a long week plus now just had your own Facebook live, right, with your own course.
Yeah. It's holiday week plus end of term is always
Stressful.
it's always horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thanks so much. And you know, Jayce got 6 kids. I have no idea how he cope.
Okay lah, you have to divide and conquer.
Divide the kids and conquer the kids. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Jayce, now we're beginning to learn science from you. So I know that you have been an teacher before.
Yeah.
That and also mark the PSLE science paper.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tips that you can share with our parents who took time off to watch us, even though it's quite late now?
Yeah. I think the key points for PSLE science is that the actually PSLE marking is more lenient than school. So school marking, the answer key is always quite fixed. So in terms of marking, the teachers will always tend to be very strict because there's also one way that they say they are trying to get the students to learn a particular way of writing their answers. But when it comes to PSLE, actually PSLE, we are not say more lenient. We are still fair in the marking, but we have more variety of answers, more varieties of answers. But I would say that the tips that parents should try to understand is that there are actually many ways of writing the answers, but the two key things that we should always be the child must always be watching out for is first thing the concept of science has to be there, especially in explanation question, because I mean science is always about the science theories and the concepts, and so everything revolves around that, and even all the questions, each of them will have their own topic or their own focus key concepts that is being tested in that question. So sometimes I will tell parents, you just have to try to make it fun for your child, make it seem like they are trying to find a treasure in a treasure in a map, like going for searching for pirate treasure, right? So it's like this question is the map, but inside this question there are places where they'll give you clues, and then there are places which will be the treasure. So you must be able to find the clues first. Then from the clues already, then that's when you use it to find your treasure, which is of course the science answer lah. So one of the key thing is always look for the science concept behind the question. And of course, recently with the syllabus change in 2017, when they actually squeeze the 4 years of topics into a smaller paper. It used to be 30 MCQ plus 30 MCQ plus 14 open-ended questions, which was a total of 44 questions. Now they squeeze it to 28 MCQ and only about 12 to 13 open-ended. So there has been more and more questions where you actually see different topics, sometimes even different topics in one question. Most of the times, traditionally, right, before 2016, the questions are all like one topic, one question. It can be different concepts, but all on the same topic. So students, when they do the question, generally it's quite easy for them. Sometimes they don't even have to read through the whole paper. They can just do without any problems. But since 2017, with the syllabus change, the questions can have 2 or 3 topics, and when students use the same way to answer the question, they actually encounter problems because sometimes when they do the question, they are still in the old mindset of thinking that one question is one topic. So when the question suddenly changes topic, the child becomes either becomes stuck and don't know how to answer, or sometimes they will still use the same topical concept to answer a different topic question. And that's when the child can go wrong. So I think one of the most crucial tips for today's sharing session is really for parents to help your child be aware that now you have to get your child to read through the whole question first and read each part on its own to see whether it's related or it's totally something else. That is
Would
very, very
you
important.
be able to share one example when there's a combined topic? Because I think with my kid taking PSLE in 2 years' time, it scares me. Yeah, so could you be able to share one example, like a question with combined topics?
Okay, so recently in one of the so-called PSLE question, there was actually a 3-topic question.
What?
3
Three
parts,
topics?
3 topics.
Oh my God.
And totally unrelated. Wow. So when the first time I was looking through the paper to analyze the paper, I saw that wow, this question part A is on it was on forces. Then part B, it was actually on electricity, which is totally unrelated. Because electricity is more on energy and forces is forces. Then after that, third part still have another one that is another third topic, which is like talking about what was it? Yeah, some other topic, but it was totally 3 different topics. Yeah, so wow. So when I saw that, it was definitely one of those few times that I've ever seen a 3-topic question before. I mean, I have seen one topic with multiple concepts before. So for example, like a reproduction in plants topic question. One first part can be talking about the first process of pollination. Then the second part can be talking about the process of fertilization. Then the third part may be talking about the last process of seed dispersal. So it is still all interrelated, still within the same topic. But when such questions come up, wow, it really throws students off. And yeah, so that is always the worrying thing. Even as a teacher, right, when I see such questions, I will just be thinking, will the student be able to switch their mindset to think of different topics within the same question? Yeah, so that's wow, can be a heart attack question, heart attack question. Yeah, so that's the wow, that's the thing to look out for. Yeah, so that's the key thing lah. So answering the question, always ensure that the concept has to be clear, shown clearly, and then of course watch out for multiple topic questions nowadays. Yeah, so this year I know the 4 common last topics for science has been taken out, but I mean there's still like 20 over topics for P3 to P6 and 20 over topics in this 40 questions. You will definitely see repeats and yeah.
So with you sharing this scary news, yeah, so what are some of the things that the parents can do at home to prepare their kids? Because I think that a lot of practices can be done at home. And I think the traditional way of doing things will be clearing the assessment book topic by topic. But I kind of like, after I heard from you, it may or may not be helpful in the last sprint towards PSLE science.
I think the P6s wise, they will definitely be able to practice the last 3 years paper. So that will actually give them already a good feel to how the PSLE structure is like. Because thankfully, since 2017, right? So 2017, 18, 19. So this year, the 2020, they actually have the 3 years of the correct format to follow. Then it's sufficient for them. But it was the past 2 years that the students were at a more disadvantage because they didn't have much previous papers of the same format to follow. But for this year onwards, yeah, it's actually good for them to definitely practice through their past year PSLE questions. There is a good gauge for them to feel how a PSLE paper is like.
Just curious because and my eldest is in primary 4.
Yeah.
What I got her to do is even though let's say she's studying like topic and all the questions are underlined, but I got her to write down lights at the corner of the question. I mean next to the question number to get her used to writing the topic down. So is this also a helpful strategy for children? Let's say they're not sure what the question is asking, but at least make the effort to write down the closest topic that they think it matches to the question.
Definitely lah, because I mean this will give the children thought process to be able to zoom into the particular concept. So sometimes there are those tricky questions that, I mean, for me there was one particular, I still remember there was one particular PSLE question that I was marking many years ago on this two elephant question. So this two elephant question is actually on adaptation, the whole question, two parts A and B. So when I was marking the question, I saw a very, very common mistake that the students were making. Because they didn't really go and think about the topic of the question. So when they were doing the first part, so it was a picture of the African elephant, okay, where African elephant will have very big ears. Then in the picture there was a sun that was shining brightly. So and some droplets of sweat on the elephant. So the question was asking African elephant living in the savannah where the weather is hot, why does the elephant need to have big ears? Okay, of course, those students who don't know the concept, they'll say that they will use the big ears to fan themselves. Yeah, but that is that's off concept because they can't be using the ears to fan themselves all the time. Well, yes, but not all the time. So the correct concept is that the large ears will actually give them a larger surface area for the elephant to be able to lose heat faster, okay, so that the elephant can stay cool. So I would say that 90% of the students definitely had part A correct. So, but the problem was part B. Part B was another elephant, which was the Asian elephant. But now the Asian elephant has smaller ears, and the picture was actually the Asian elephant in the rainforest. So there was a lot of branches and trees around, okay, and the question was similar to part A, and it was asking for the Asian elephant has small ears. What is the main reason why did the Asian elephant have small ears? So 50% of the students, oh no, not 50, maybe about 60-70% of the students actually wrote that in the rainforest it is cooler, so the Asian elephant don't need such a large surface area in order to lose heat. Okay, and they were all wrong.
Really? Yeah. I would have written the same thing.
Yes, because the thing is, when students were doing that question, in their mind, because of the first part, they are thinking actually on the concept on heat. So in their minds, they will still be using the same concept on heat to answer the part B. But they didn't realize that actually the question was testing on adaptation. And adaptation, there are different purposes to the adaptation. So the first one was adaptation for extreme environment or a place with extreme temperature. But the second adaptation was actually adaptation to escape predators, because the actual answer was Asian elephants have smaller ears so that when they are escaping from their predators in the forest, in the rainforest, they won't get caught in the foliage, that means the plants and the trees. Okay, so that was actually the answer that they were looking for. Yeah, so so that was there was one huge problem. I think in the end, only about 5 to 10% of students managed to get the second mark. Yeah, so but that really showed me the importance of getting students to understand the topic, which topic or which concept is really the question testing you on. Once they identify the wrong thing, they will just get the answers wrong.
Yeah. One last question about the Asian elephants. I mean, as a tester, is there an obvious clue in the question that tells a child that it's actually adaptation to escape from predators?
Obvious clue. Actually, the clue was the picture. The biggest clue was in the picture because of all the trees and the plants. It was really like the elephant was just right in the center, but there are trees and leaves was like everywhere around. So that was definitely one big clue, rather than heat. Because if it's heat, then there will be other clues that will tell you about heat. Also, for example, like the African elephant, there was the big sun. The sun was there in the sky, bright and shining. So that was, and of course, the droplets of sweat on the on the African elephant. Yeah, so Asian elephant, there was no droplets of sweat. Yeah, so small clues like this are also very important for science. I mean, science is always one of the thickest paper. Why? Because for almost every question, there are always pictures around. And why pictures are so important in science is because they are also testing students on their skills of observation. So from P3, since when they start learning for science in P3, they see a lot of pictures. So you can look at your daughter's or your child's paper, and you can see when you flip through, right, almost every page, picture here, picture there, sometimes two pictures, sometimes one picture, and so the pictures are all very important in giving clues to really, and sometimes the clue in the picture can actually be the crucial clue rather than what is given in the words. So if the child just read the words without paying so much attention to the picture, they can actually miss out the important clue. Yeah, so that is the thing about science, really testing the skills, the child's skill of observation.
Oh, it sounds really tricky.
No, that's why it's a learning process. They start learning skill of observation from P3, and they really have to see, be it from pictures or real things, through their science lessons. They really get to see a lot of things.
Yeah. Or bring your child to the zoo more often.
Yeah. Zoo is definitely one good place to go. And since now that they are open, definitely is a good place to go. Science center also, yeah.
Plus, I'm not sure whether they are giving like discounted price.
Discounted price, I think definitely there are some discounts going around. Maybe the National Day e-coupons, they have some discounts also.
Yes, parents who are not sure about the e-coupon, actually there are many e-coupon going around to visit local attraction in Sentosa as well, and the local tourism spots. And a disclaimer to parents, this Facebook Live is not sponsored by the zoo or by Sentosa. I mean, I hope it happens, but it's not going to happen, yeah. Okay, Jayce, thanks so much for being here, because I know that you have a long day.
Yeah.
And probably you haven't taken your lunch.
Dinner. I had quick dinner. Yeah. Managed 15 minutes.
Thanks so much for being here. Okay, parents, if you're still online right now, you have one last minute to ask us any question before we go off, because I don't want to hold them on. Oh my God, what am I saying? I need English tuition. Okay, I don't want to hold them back any longer because they have their own life to go back to. So any question, last question, before we wrap up, yeah? Okay, probably as the parents are trying to think of one last thing to share to us, Rosalind, can you share one last tip the parents can take away from here?
with
Or
regard
Jayce
to
can start also.
Yeah.
One last takeaway for the parents, then we'll wrap up and then we'll say bye-bye.
I think a recap because maybe some of you have missed out what I've said
Yeah.
earlier on. Yeah. So one of the important things is to really, because you know that the English paper is divided into booklet. I mean, for paper 2 is divided into booklet A and B. So booklet A is really a very important booklet that you want to secure as many marks as possible in the practical sense. Yeah. So one way is because there are lots of like grammar questions there, and so you really it will really help if your child can go back to the grammar questions that they have previously practiced and gotten wrong, and collate those questions and revise them before the exams. And also the next thing that I shared just now was actually how to answer the questions properly. Actually, it applies to any subject. As long as people ask you questions, right, you really need to think of these three criteria, which is number one, relevance. Yeah, you answer the question itself. Don't create your own answer to your own question. Yeah. The second one is accuracy. Accuracy, you need to, because it's a language paper, so you need to look out for accuracy in your language, as well as accuracy in like the content, especially when you're picking out clues from like the comprehension. Don't misrepresent the information. Yeah. So, and the third one is actually to be specific in your answers. If a question actually carries more marks, it's more likely that it requires more detailed explanation. Yeah. So yeah, that would actually help a lot in answering, especially like open-ended questions.
Do you have anything to add? This is what I learned just now. Rosalind, do you have anything to add?
Me? Oh, do I have anything to add for?
Yeah, just like the oral.
Oh, for the oral. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, okay. That's I repeat what I said just now. Okay.
Yeah, just a quick one. Just a quick one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No problem. Okay. Because oral examination, right, is now a challenging situation to actually carry out the oral examination, and so a lot of precautions are being taken. Your child will be like 1.5 meters away from the examiners, so definitely he or she has to project the voice, yeah, clearly, so that the examiners can hear. Yeah, although the masks can be taken off during the examination, but there's still a shield between the examiner and the candidate. So definitely it will reduce a bit of sound. Jayce can can tell you the science behind the sound thing. Arrow yeah.
Now I got a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jayce, yeah. So thanks, Rosalind.
Yeah.
Jayce,
No problem.
last takeaway for the parents. Because some of them may have missed out, but you can just do a quick summary.
I think doing science is really very specific in terms of many things, because there are so many different concepts. But understanding the concept is one thing, memorizing is another thing. The final important thing is always the application of the concept to the questions that are given. So the thing I love about science is it's not a dead subject. I mean, the concepts are dead, but it's always using the concepts to apply it to different ways that you find it so exciting and so interesting. So even in PSLE, you will definitely get to see questions that you have never seen before. Even though you have practiced like 101 test papers, 101 assessment books, but there will always be new questions that you have never seen before. Okay, and that's when it really pushes the child to be able to know how to connect a concept to a particular situation in the question. And I like that because it kind of tests the child's creativity and flexibility in using, really being so confident in their concept that they are able to answer the question. Yeah. So, I mean, for me as an advice as a parent and a teacher, if your child is able to understand the concept and apply it, is always good. But even if your child has problems, I mean, we will just have to work towards helping them, be it doing more practices or helping them to know what are the right things to write down. But I mean, it's still a learning process. PSLE is just a first gate. It's just a first gate that we as students they have to pass through, but there are many more other gates after that. So by the time you pass through many other gates later, when you think back to PSLE, you have forgotten what the gate looked like already. Yeah, so yeah, it's a phase, but we just have to go through it. Yeah.
So these are the wise words from a father of 6. Yeah. So please listen to Jayce. Unless you have more than 6 kids. Yeah. So let the father of 6 speak up. Yeah. I'll listen to him lah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add, Jayce?
No lah. I think that's all.
Okay, great. And I still remember what you shared with me. What don't stress about it in the interview that we did. I can't remember what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to math. I think the tips to do well for all subjects are the same. Please read properly. Please highlight your keywords, circle them, just like how you do for science and English as well. Identify the keywords lah. Yeah, I think for math, one of the things for primary sixers is do not study the problem sums as like this is only a fraction problem sum, or this is a percentage problem sum, or this is a ratio problem sum. Because if I'm a setter and now having more questions to set, I will mix them up. Yeah, I think this one, I think Jayce can also share a bit because Jayce has been a math teacher. Yeah, so I think I can get some input from Jayce as well about the math part.
Yeah, but I don't teach math every year. I only teach math certain years. Yeah, so other years I will be teaching English. So it depends on the allocation that year.
So later we can also ask you about English.
Yeah, actually
Yeah,
I teach math more than English.
Never mind. Okay, so I think Ross and I can go off, and then
Okay, bye.
Jayce can talk for next 1 hour just on EMS. Yeah. So parents, if you're watching this, I think this is the beauty of getting educators who have experience, so we can share with you what is it like for the PSLE. Yeah. So before I continue, Jayce, can I get some of your sharing or advice, like with the primary sixers topics taken out? How will they actually replace these topics that are taken out?
So the PSLE science format for the paper is everyone knows that is booklet A MCQ and booklet B the open-ended. But there'll be some, or there are not many people who actually know that even the MCQ and the open-ended, they are split into 2 halves. So the first half of the MCQ, question 1 to 14, is actually the life science topics. That means all the topics dealing with living things. And then the next half of the MCQ, question 15 to 28, is actually the physical science topics. Those topics dealing with the non-living things. And even for the open-ended also. So when the common last topics have been taken out, all the common last topics are actually the topics from the life science portion. To me, I think MOE will still be fair in keeping to the life science and the physical science topics, 50%, 50%. But definitely there will be more questions that will have to come up from the life science other topics. But there's still more than enough topics for the setters to set the questions without much problem, because 4 topics taken out, it is not really a lot. It is just a small portion. Yeah. So in terms of the paper weightage wise, this is what I will still see. What I believe I will still see in this science PSLE this year, that it will still be a 50-50 life science, physical science.
Yes, and I know that you don't teach math now, but would you be able to share with us some like probably like your advice on how it will be broken down? Because now we know that many P6 topics are taken out.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe you shed some lights on it.
Yeah, I mean for yeah, even for math with the common last topics taken out like speed and volume for P6s. So the thing is, generally the papers are set according to weightage of the topics they are taught. Because math there isn't really any separation like science where we have life science, physical science. So what they will most probably be doing is that they will be portioning the major portion of the paper still to be the upper block topics. That means P5, P6. So P5, P6, because P6 topics taken out, means that they'll most probably readjust the P5 so that the P5 topics will cover the space that's been left by the P6 topics. So they may bring up a few P3, P4 maybe topics, but yeah, majority I'll still think that it will be taken over by the P5 topics.
Yes, and I agree with you as well. And I think for parents, even though fraction, percentage, and ratio are taught in P5, but the setter can set the question in such a way that it's of a P6 level. So they use a primary 5 question, but they up the question difficulty level to primary 6. So it's more difficult for the children. Yeah, so parents, I think one advice from me will be always revisit your primary 3, 4, 5 exam papers, because like science, for paper 1, in my opinion, I also made out of the primary 3 to 5 topics. So if your child do not learn from the mistakes made in school, high chance they are going to make the same mistake in the exam itself. So always revisit them and clear them one at a time. Okay, parents, I hope that this has benefited you, and give us a yes if you have learned something from here. All right, so thanks so much, Jayce and Rosalind. I will release you back. Next time you should let Jayce do EMS by himself, and then
Cannot.
I can just take a break. And Ross as well. Yeah, but Jayce, thanks so much, everybody, because I know that last week you have a long week with workshops and lessons going on, and Rosalind as well, you have your own commitment. Yeah, so I thank you for sharing this with my community. Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah. I think many parents have learned something from here, and probably we can do a short one as well on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
1 a.m. Okay, what's the time that we have set or discussed? I forgot. What's the time? Do you remember?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think not fixed yet, maybe. Yeah.
Not fixed yet. Probably it's in the morning when the parents are more freed up because the kids are in school. Okay, probably we'll do around 10 to 11, then we'll announce in our own Facebook group or page. Okay. Thanks so much, Jayce. Thanks so much, Rosalind. And parents, please rewatch this because it's very important. Yeah. I mean, if you miss it, at least watch once and then jot down the notes and brief your kids before they sleep tonight. Okay, thanks so much. Take care and bye-bye.
Yeah,
See you.
thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.